Welcome, have a nice day. Today is Tuesday, 22nd of October 2024. From the history point of view, internationally on this day, 1962, President John F. Kennedy alerted Americans to the Cuban Missile Crisis, declaring a naval blockade to prevent further missile shipments to the island country 90 miles, 45 kilometers of the coast of the United States. Starting the newspaper analysis with the newspaper The Hindu states that BRICS 2024, India values close cooperation with the BRICS, says Prime Minister Modi as departs for Russia. Prime Minister Narendra Modi plans for Kazan, Russia for a two-day visit to attend the 16th BRICS Summit in New Delhi on October 22nd, 2024. Modi is expected to hold bilateral meetings with several of his counterparts from the BRICS member countries and leaders invited to Kazan. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today, October 22, 2024, embarked for his visit to Kazan in Russia, where he will be participating in the 16th BRICS Summit. India values the close cooperation with the BRICS, which has emerged as an important platform for dialogue and discussion on issues concerning the global developmental agenda, reform, multilateralism, climate change, economic cooperation, building resilience, supply chains, promoting cultural and people-to-people connect, among others, Mr. Modi said in departure statement. Mr. Modi is expected to hold bilateral meetings with several of his counterparts from the BRICS member countries and leaders invited to Kazan. The Prime Minister is set to hold bilateral meetings with the Russian President Vladimir Putin, during which both leaders are expected to deliberate on the conflict in Ukraine. The BRIC as an formal grouping started after the meeting of the leaders of Russia, India and China in St. Petersburg in 2006. It was agreed to expand the BRIC into the BRICS with the inclusion of South Africa in 2010. 4 killed in Israeli strike on Beirut neighborhood near a government hospital. Flames and smoke rise from an Israeli airstrike on Dahiyeh in the southern suburb of Beirut, Monday, October 21, 2024. Israel said it planned to carry out more strikes in Lebanon against the Hezbollah-run financial institution. A child and 3 adults were killed and 24 others were wounded on Monday, October 21, 2024, in an Israeli strike near the Lebanese capital, Beirut's main government hospital, the National Health Ministry said in a statement. Israel's campaign in Lebanon has displaced more than 1.2 million people multiple times, according to the Lebanese authorities. Israel says it aims to drive Hezbollah fighters from the border region, so tens of thousands of Israelis can return to homes they were forced to flee over the past year due to the Hezbollah cross-border fire in the solidarity with the Palestinians during the war in the Gaza. Israel said late Monday, October 21, 2024, it planned to carry out more strikes in Lebanon against the Hezbollah-run financial institution that it targeted the night before the end of which it says uses customers' deposit finance attacks against Israel. At least 15 branches of Al-Qarad Al-Hassan were hit late Sunday, October 20, 2024, in the southern neighborhoods of Beirut, across the southern Lebanon and in the eastern Bekaa Valley, where Hezbollah has a strong presence. One strike flattened a 9-story building in Beirut with a branch inside it. The Israeli military issued evacuation warnings ahead of the strikes, and there were no reports of the casualties. Going towards the Hindustan Times newspaper states that India launched 4th nuclear missile submarine. New Delhi, in the midst of the diplomatic spat with Canada, India quietly launched its 4th nuclear-powered ballistic missile SSBN submarine at a shipbuilding center in the Visakhapatnam this week to strengthen its nuclear deterrence against its adversaries. Final picture of the ballistic missile firing submarine INS Arighat. While India's second SSBN INS Arighat was commissioned by Defense Minister Rajnath Singh on August 29, 2024, the third SSBN INS Aridaman will be commissioned next year. On October 9, the Cabinet Committee on Security (CCS) cleared the Indian Navy's plans for the construction of 2 nuclear-powered attack submarines to deter any adversaries in the Indo-Pacific. Secularism, key to constitutional fabric. Supreme Court on preamble challenge. The petitioners highlighted that the debate during the drafting the constitution has rejected proposals to include these terms, reflecting deliberate decision by the framers to avoid them. The Supreme Court on Monday expressed reservations over the petitions challenging the inclusion of the words socialist and secular in the preamble of the Indian Constitution in 1976, emphasizing that these terms hold specific significance in the Indian context, distinctive from their Western interpretations. When you look at the terms equality and fraternity within the various constitutional provisions, it gives clarity to their intended meanings in the preamble. Also, this court has said in several provisions that secularism is a part of our basic structure, said a bench of Justice Sanjay Khanna and Sanjay Kumar. This court has interpreted and balanced these concepts flexibly in Indian democracy. Observed the bench stressing that India's legal framework has given substantive meaning to their term secularism beyond religious neutrality. During the Constituent Assembly debates, proposals to include the words secular and socialist were brought up multiple times. On November 15, 1948, Professor K.T. Shah proposed including secular and socialist in the preamble, but the Assembly rejected the proposal. Further attempts to insert secular into the Article 18 of the Constitution were similarly dismissed by the Constituent Assembly. The petitions contend that these rejections reflect a deliberate decision by the framers to avoid embedding these concepts into the core framework of the Constitution. Going towards the economy of the country from the business point of view, allocation, satellite spectrum, geo versus Starlink, SPAT, and why most countries avoid auctions. Their essential argument is that the administrative allocation may not be able to bring about a level playing field between satellite and terrestrial services. The movie is being seen as a big win for some of the company's biggest rivals, particularly billionaire Elon Musk, Starlink. Vari Energy's IPO sees 3.3x subscriptions on a day. First demand from non-institutional investors high. The IPO, which closes on October 23 and is set to list on the stock exchange on October 28, comprised over 2.8 crore shares with a price band of rupees 1,427 to rupees 1,503 per equity share. With 13 gigawatts of the module manufacturing capacity, Vari is India's biggest solar module producer and raked in over rupees 11,000 crore in revenue in financial year 2024. India's growth outlook is supported by robust domestic engines, our Reserve Bank of India article. The article said, as per its Economic Activity Index (EAI), the gross domestic product (GDP) growth is projected at 6.8% in July to September month 2024, quarter lower than the Reserve Bank of India's projection of 7% for the same period. The ongoing strengthening of the global trade could provide flip in external demand for India's exporters. Although escalation of geopolitical tensions remain a potential threat, the article said. Now going towards the world news, including McDonald's clarifies neutral stance after hosting Trump event in Pennsylvania. Exonerated Central Park 5 sued Trump over defamatory debate remarks. United States election 2024 live updates with 2 weeks to election day in the United States. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump pick up pace, campaign aggressively. Over 20 products recalled due to the peanut contamination concern in the United Kingdom. Elon Musk faces scrutiny over election law violations in bid to support Trump. Trump attends Jet Steelers game, shares image of himself in Petersburg kit. Now going to the science and tech, we have major Boeing made communication satellite disintegrate in orbit. An artist's impression of an Intelsat satellite in orbit around the Earth. While Intelsat 33E had a history of issue while in orbit, its unexpected disintegration has heightened concerns about the space junk. A large communications satellite has broken up in orbit, affecting users in Europe, Central Africa, the Middle East, Asia, and Australia, and adding to the growing swarm of space junk clouding our planet's neighborhood. The Intelsat 33E satellite provided broadband communication from a point some 35,000 kilometers above the Indian Ocean in a geostationary orbit around the equator. Initial reports on the October 20 said Intelsat 33E had experienced a sudden power loss. Hours later, United States Space Forces space confirmed the satellite appears to have broken up into at least 20 pieces. How policies shape high-performance building standards and climate goals. Governments are trying to adopt high-performance buildings through policies and financing mechanisms that promote energy efficiency, resource management, and carbon neutrality. It has made significant progress through initiatives under its National Action Plan on Climate Change. In response to the pressures of climate mitigation as well as adoption, high-performance buildings (HPBs) are emerging as essential solutions in the construction sector. They address both urban and climate challenges since the built environment contributes to these issues and presents opportunities for change. These high-performance buildings are designed to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, minimize energy and water use, and cut operational costs using climate-adaptive designs. They also improve their occupants' well-being, making them attractive to both the business and occupants. At last, there's a famous quotation by a famous philosopher of India, Rabindranath Tagore, whose birth is 7 May 1861 up to 7 August 1941. Was a Bengali poet, writer, playwright, composer, philosopher, social reformer, and a painter of the Bengal Renaissance. He reshaped Bengali literature and music as well as the Indian art with the contextual modernism in the late 19th and the early 20th century. Author of the profoundly sensitive, fresh, and beautiful poetry of Gitanjali in 1913, Tagore became the first non-European and the first lyricist to win the Nobel Prize in Literature. Tagore's poetic songs were viewed as spiritual and mercurial, while his elegant prose and magical poetry were widely popular in the Indian subcontinent. He was fellow of the Royal Asiatic Society, referred to as the Bard of the Bengal. Tagore was known by the sobriquets Gurudev, Gobi Guru, and Biswa Gobi. Tagore's modernized Bengali art by spurning rigid classical forms and resisting linguistic strictures. His novels, stories, songs, dramas, and essays spoke to topics political and personal. Gitanjali, Song Offerings, Goda, Faired Face, and Garibari, The Home and the World are his best known works, and his verse, short stories, and novels were acclaimed or penned for their lyricism, colloquialism, naturalism, and unnatural contemplation. His compositions were chosen by the two nations as national anthems, India's Jana Gana Mana and Bangladesh's Amar Sonhar Bangla. The Sri Lanka national anthem was also inspired by his work. His song Banglar Mati Banglar Jhol has been adopted as the state anthem of the West Bengal. Rabindranath Tagore says a very famous quotation. He says that everything comes to us that belongs to us if we have created the capacity to receive it. Okay, thank you.